Imagine this, you're only 35, feeling fine, no symptoms, no warning signs. Then one random Tuesday, your heart decides it's had enough. No drama, no soundtrack, just silence. The truth? Most heart problems don't start with pain. They start with habits, the quiet daily ones that seem harmless until they aren't. Doctors say almost 80% of heart disease is preventable, yet it remains the world's #1 killer. Not because people don't care, but because they wait until it's too late. So, today, we're flipping the script. These are 10 heart-healthy habits doctors want everyone to know before age 40. Tiny daily moves that can literally keep you alive longer than your Netflix subscription. Let's get started. Number 10. The 10-minute rule. You don't need to run marathons to keep your heart strong. Just trick it into thinking you're constantly about to. Doctors call it micro-movement. You might call it doing the bare minimum. Here's the secret. 10 minutes of brisk walking, stair climbing, or dancing like a caffeinated goblin can drop your risk of heart disease by up to 30%. The American Heart Association says even short bursts of movement, spread through your day, are as effective as one long workout. Think of your heart like a loyal dog. It doesn't need a full-blown adventure. It just wants to know you're still alive and moving. When you sit for more than an hour, your blood flow slows, insulin resistance creeps in, and your arteries start acting like grumpy old men who hate change. So, here's the doctor-approved hack. Every hour, move for 2 minutes. That's it. You don't need a gym membership or yoga mat. Just stand, stretch, or march in place while microwaving lunch. Even better, race your smartwatch to hit 100 steps before the next email loads. It sounds laughably small, but in cardiology, consistency trumps intensity. A Harvard study followed 17,000 women for 13 years and found that short regular walks cut heart disease risk, almost as much as running. Translation? 10 minutes a day can literally keep your arteries from turning into plumbing problems. Number 9, the breakfast that beats pills. If your morning routine involves coffee, scrolling, and chaos, here's your wake-up call. Skipping breakfast increases your risk of heart disease by 27%. Your body reads no breakfast as famine. Cortisol spikes, blood sugar crashes, and your arteries panic like they're in a zombie apocalypse. By 10 a.m., you're irritable, dehydrated, and one pastry away from a cardiac argument. So, what's the fix? A real breakfast, one that your cardiologist would high-five you for. The Holy Trinity: fiber, protein, and healthy fat. Oats with berries, eggs with avocado, Greek yogurt with nuts. Why? Fiber lowers LDL, bad, cholesterol. Omega-3 fats calm inflammation. And protein stabilizes blood sugar. When combined, they make your arteries sigh with relief. And before you ask, no, coffee alone doesn't count. It's a liquid personality, not a meal. Here's a fascinating bit. According to a 2017 study in Circulation, people who regularly ate breakfast had 20% fewer clogged arteries compared to chronic skippers. Breakfast doesn't just give you energy, it sets your heart's rhythm for the day. So, if you want your heart to stay loyal for decades, start your morning with something that looks like food, not stress. Number 8, the salt trap. You probably think the enemy of your heart is fat, but surprise, it's salt. The silent saboteur sitting in your instant noodles and healthy sauces. Here's the fun twist. The average person eats around 3,400 mg of sodium daily, nearly double the recommended amount. And no, your taste buds aren't to blame. It's the food industry's fault. Salt hides everywhere. Bread, cereal, canned veggies, even bottled water brands have traces. Excess sodium makes your body hoard water like a paranoid camel. Blood volume increases, your arteries stretch, and your heart has to work overtime just to keep you upright. Over the years, this constant pressure wears out artery walls and thickens your heart muscle, like a gym bro who doesn't know when to stop benching. Doctors want you to pull a clever move. Replace the salty satisfaction with flavor, not more seasoning. Garlic, lemon, herbs, and vinegar trigger the same dopamine reward system as salt, without turning your arteries into sandpaper. One fascinating study from the New England Journal of Medicine showed that lowering salt intake by just 1,000 milliliters a day could prevent millions of heart-related deaths globally every year. That's right, one less sprinkle could save your life. So next time you reach for the salt shaker, remember, your heart doesn't need seasoning, it needs mercy. Number 7, the sleep debt collector. You can outwork your boss, but you can't outsmart your circadian rhythm. Doctors have a cruel nickname for chronic sleep deprivation. The silent arrhythmia trigger, skip sleep, and your blood pressure rises, stress hormones skyrocket, and your arteries become as flexible as dried spaghetti. A 2019 Harvard study found that people sleeping less than 6 hours a night had a 200% higher risk of developing heart disease. Why? Because sleep is when your heart recalibrates, blood pressure dips, inflammation drops, and your heartbeat synchronizes with your breathing. Without that nightly tune-up, your cardiovascular system runs like a car with no oil change. Here's where it gets spooky. Even one bad night can temporarily stiffen your arteries. Miss a week, and your blood vessels forget how to relax. To fix it, doctors recommend consistency, not quantity alone. Go to bed and wake up at the same time daily, even on weekends. Your body loves rhythm more than rebellion. Bonus hack: turn off screens an hour before bed. The blue light tricks your brain into thinking you're in a rave, not a bedroom. Melatonin, your natural sleep hormone, drops, and your heart keeps drumming like it's waiting for an encore. So if you ever brag about thriving on 4 hours of sleep, just remember, your heart is rolling its eyes in exhaustion. Number 6, the angry heart syndrome. You've heard of dying from a broken heart, but science has a darker twist. You can also die from an angry one. Doctors call it stress-induced cardiomyopathy, or Takotsubo syndrome, a temporary but terrifying condition where emotional shock literally stuns your heart. It was first discovered in Japan when patients with no artery blockages showed all the symptoms of a heart attack, just from stress. Think of it like your heart throwing a tantrum. It seizes up, changes shape, and stops pumping efficiently, all because your brain flooded it with stress hormones like adrenaline and cortisol. The danger? Chronic anger keeps this system half-activated all the time. Studies show people who frequently experience rage are 3 times more likely to have heart attacks within 2 hours of an outburst. That's right, yelling at bad drivers could be more dangerous than they are. The fix isn't pretending to be zen, it's about discharge. Exercise, meditation, journaling, or even humor diffuses the chemical cocktail before it eats your arteries alive. One clever tip cardiologists share: the 6-second pause. When you feel rage spike, wait 6 seconds before reacting. It's how long it takes your brain's rational circuits to override your emotional ones. So, next time someone cuts you off in traffic, don't think revenge. Think cardiac event prevention. Number 5, the oil swap that saves lives. Let's talk fat. Not the villain you've been told it is. Your body needs fat. But the type of fat determines whether your heart throws a party or files a complaint. Trans fats, the Frankenstein fats found in fried fast food, margarine, and processed snacks, increase LDL, bad cholesterol, while lowering HDL, the good one. That's like paying someone to rob your own house. Meanwhile, omega-3 fatty acids, found in salmon, walnuts, and flax seeds, act like peacekeepers. They reduce inflammation, stabilize heart rhythm, and even help your blood vessels stay flexible. One meta-analysis of over 68,000 participants found omega-3s could reduce cardiac death by nearly 10%. Doctors say it's not about eating low fat, it's about eating smart fat. Use olive oil instead of butter, eat nuts instead of chips, and grill instead of deep fry. Each small swap rewires your heart chemistry. And here's a wild fact: heart patients in Mediterranean regions who consume high-fat olive oil diets live longer than Americans on low-fat plans. Fat isn't evil, it's just misunderstood. So next time someone says, "I cut out all fat," you can smile knowingly and say, "Ah, so you're on the cardiac chaos plan." Number 4, the blood pressure whisperer. Your arteries are like garden hoses, flexible, resilient, and capable of handling pressure. But crank that pressure too high for too long, and eventually the hose bursts. That's high blood pressure in a nutshell. The terrifying part? Most people with hypertension don't feel a thing until it's too late. That's why doctors call it the silent killer. If you've ever wondered what your blood pressure numbers actually mean, here's the breakdown. 120, 80, Mulmacher Stigs, the gold standard. 130, 139, warning zone. Anything above 140. Your arteries are officially on strike. So, how do you whisper your blood pressure back to calm? Doctors recommend 3 proven moves. 1. Eat more potassium, bananas, spinach, beans. It helps flush excess sodium out of your system. 2. Cut caffeine gradually. Too much spikes your heart rate like it's prepping for a sprint you never signed up for. 3. Deep breathing for 2 minutes a day. Yes, breathing can literally lower blood pressure. In a 2019 University of Colorado study, participants who practiced inspiratory muscle training, basically slow, controlled breathing exercises, saw significant drops in blood pressure, rivaling some medications. Here's the kicker: your body remembers calm. The more you teach it relaxation through daily habits, the more it defaults to low pressure mode even under stress. So if your blood pressure's creeping up, don't panic. Just start whispering to it through your habits. Number 3, the fiber fix. You want a simple secret that can lower cholesterol, control weight, and reduce heart disease risk. All at once? Fiber, the most boring word in the grocery aisle, and the most underrated lifesaver in medicine. Think of fiber as your body's built-in plumber. It binds to cholesterol in your digestive tract and literally drags it out before it can enter your bloodstream. That's right. Fiber is your intestinal hitman for LDL cholesterol. The American Heart Association recommends 25 to 30 grams per day, but most people barely hit 15. And no, that sad slice of lettuce on your burger doesn't count. Here's where to find the real stuff: oats, beans, apples, chia seeds, whole grains. Every bite cleans your arteries like a slow-motion car wash. Fun fact, in a Harvard study tracking over 40,000 men for 2 decades, those who ate the most fiber had a 40% lower risk of heart disease. Bonus, it keeps you full longer, which means fewer cravings, smaller waistlines, and happier insulin levels. So, yes, fiber may not be sexy, but it's quietly saving your cardiovascular life one bathroom trip at a time. Number 2, the check engine. Numbers. Every car has warning lights. Your body does too. They're just quieter and harder to read unless you check under the hood. Doctors call them biomarkers, but think of them as your personal dashboard for heart health. The 3 most important gauges: blood pressure, LDL, cholesterol, and fasting glucose. Let's decode them like a mechanic for the human body. Blood pressure, ideally under 120/80 mm Hg. LDL cholesterol, under 100 mg/dL. Fasting glucose, under 100 mg/dL. When these numbers creep up, it's not a death sentence. It's your early warning system. You've caught the problem while it's still reversible. Doctors love early detection because it's cheaper, easier, and doesn't involve an ambulance ride. Think of your lab results like a GPS. They don't judge you, they guide you. Every small correction you make today keeps blood flowing cleanly tomorrow. Here's the fun twist: many people who look healthy aren't. Studies show 40% of people with normal weight still have insulin resistance or high cholesterol. Translation: looking fit doesn't mean your arteries are. That's why cardiologists recommend a full checkup by age 30 and annual tests after 40. It's not paranoia, it's maintenance. So, yes, your heart may be silent, but it's not mysterious. It's just waiting for you to pop the hood and listen. Number 1, the happiness hormone workout. You already know exercise keeps your heart strong, but what most people miss is why it works so well. It's not just about blood flow, it's about brain chemistry. When you move, your body releases a mix of endorphins, nitric oxide, and serotonin, chemicals that relax your blood vessels, lower stress hormones, and stabilize your heartbeat. Essentially, you're flooding your body with antidepressants made in-house. The sweet spot? About 150 minutes a week, just 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week. But it's not about grinding on a treadmill until you hate life. Anything that gets your heart rate up counts. Dancing, swimming, gardening, even chasing your dog who stole your sock. Doctors at the Mayo Clinic found that people who exercised regularly had up to a 70% lower risk of heart attack, even when they had genetic predispositions. Movement literally overrides bad DNA. Here's the twist: exercise doesn't just prevent heart disease, it can reverse it. A groundbreaking study by Dr. Dean Ornish showed that patients who combined movement, meditation, and plant-based eating actually saw their arteries open back up over time. So, the next time your couch whispers your name, remember, every heartbeat you earn is one more that stays loyal for decades. That's it for today. I'll be doing similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them.